Swaddling is amazing. As we all know, inside the in utero environment, it's a really tight, contained space. And that's what babies are used to. And the majority of babies love the womb, right? It's the minute that they come out that they start to have issues, and they don't understand how in the world they can, sleep in this wide open space now with no boundaries, with no containment. So that's why swaddling was started, centuries ago, basically. I do recommend that all newborns are swaddled because the majority of newborns, not all of them, but the majority of newborns love being swaddled. It settles them, it helps them sleep longer periods and deeper as well. And the reason is that babies have the startle reflex. So we've all seen it. Every so often your baby is sleeping peacefully and then suddenly it's like those dreams that you have when you dream that you're falling and you wake up, right? So all of a sudden then your baby jerks awake and then it wakes her up and she cries and then she has to be resettled. So the idea behind swaddling is your baby's nice and contained. So whenever they have that reflex, the swaddle contains them and it doesn't wake them. And it works magically. If your baby is swaddled, they should always be placed to sleep on their back. Placing a swaddled baby onto their side or onto their stomach to sleep is really dangerous, because if they roll into a position on their stomach where their face might be pressed into the mattress or their nose or their mouth is occluded, then we risk your baby not being able to breathe, and they're too young and not strong enough to get themselves out of that position. Another concern about swaddling is hip dysplasia. A lot of parents are worried, if I always have my baby in this one position, and especially with the legs and the knees bent up, it can lead to hip dysplasia in some infants. So I would say don't swaddle your baby all day long, even if it is a newborn. If your newborn is awake, then she should be completely unswaddled. She should be open. She should be on the floor. She should be practicing tummy time or lying on her back. And as she gets older, having the freedom to roll around and work all her muscles out and be able to get into any sort of position or range of motion that she wants. I do recommend swaddling for all night sleep and for most naps as well, because it really just does help those young babies sleep well. Once your baby shows any signs that she's trying to move around or she's trying to get into a different position and is in the beginning stages of rolling, then I recommend you stop swaddling. Now, how in the world can you get a baby that's used to sleeping in a tight, contained, lovely environment to suddenly sleeping, limbs out? Well, as you may have guessed, there's another product for it. There is a sleep sack called the Zipadee Zip. And the Zipadee Zip is great because it's a transition swaddler. So a Zipadee Zip is your basic sleep suit. It looks like a little starfish. You got space for the arms and the legs. And what's great about the Zipadee Zip is there is a slight amount of restriction in the arms. And so what this does is, if your baby starts to have that startle reflex while they're sleeping, it just restricts them just a slight bit, enough to where the babies that transition to Zipadee Zips often sleep just as long as they did when they were being swaddled. I've been recommending the Zipadee Zip for years, and the majority of moms absolutely love it. And they say there was no difference between my baby being swaddled and using the Zipadee Zip. And what's great about it is you can use it long term. So your baby doesn't ever outgrow it or grow so old that it becomes dangerous, like with a swaddler. Once you go to the Zipadee Zip, you can use it for forever, for years, and they have sizes going up through preschool. You don't have to go to the Zipadee Zip. You could certainly switch to any traditional sleep sack, like the Halo or the GrowBag, which I personally love. But if your baby's really used to being swaddled and has always slept well being swaddled, then I would recommend a transitioner such as the Zipadee Zip.